Hi everyone, welcome to the Bookkeeping Made Simple podcast. My name is Donna and I'm the President and CEO of Bookkeeping Made Simple. We are a bookkeeping and accounting firm located in Pleasant Grove, Utah, or headquartered, I should say, in Pleasant Grove, Utah. And we have clients from coast to coast in the United States. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about debt consolidation loans. I've been asked about them, so I wanted to address them. There is a certain personal finance guru that gives out generic information, and I think the problem with his advice is that he is one-size-fits-all person. So I wanted to go into what are the benefits of a debt consolidation loan, but also what are the cons. There's always a benefit and then something that's not beneficial to it. I can't think of the word for that. But anyway, there's a benefit and a price, so to speak. Anytime that you make a change in your life, you have to really balance all this out. So they can be a really good tool if you are really working hard to get out from underneath what feels like insurmountable debt. Then they can be a really good tool, but they are not one size fits all. So let's talk a little bit about when a debt consolidation loan is desirable. And this is, by the way, I usually talk about business finance in these podcasts. This is personal finance. However, for the kind of business people that I work with, they're usually solopreneurs. Their business and personal funds are usually pretty well intermingled. They're taking out loans in their own names to try to fund their business. So I did want to go ahead and cover some of these personal finance topics because for a very small business owner of a very small business, this can be very, very relevant. So debt consolidation loans can be desirable if they have a much lower interest rate than you have on the debt you're already paying. By way of example, I have a really good interest rate on my vehicle. It's not a big fancy vehicle. I chose not to get a luxury vehicle. It's a Honda Civic. I absolutely love the car. Never get to drive it because my husband, who owns an Audi A8, would rather drive my Honda. So I give him a hard time about that. But anyway, I got a fantastic interest rate on it. I had very good credit. I managed my money very carefully. And so I was able to get the loan was almost free. It was 1.9%, I believe. So and then now that I'm halfway through paying for the vehicle, I have offers from the bank of, hey, you can reduce, they can't reduce the interest, okay? But they're saying, oh, we'll extend the loan. You can refinance, and we'll extend the loan. Is that a good deal? No, it's not. Number one, I only have 3 years left on this loan. Number two, they're not going to beat that interest rate. And number three, I don't want this loan to go on till the end of time. It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so they're not beating my interest rate. They're extending the length of my term. They're requiring a balloon payment at the end. And so I'm looking at this going, it's not helping me. If I wanted to refinance my loan, I would just pay extra payments, pay it off sooner, and fine as well. So that's something that you really have to look into. How much better is the interest rate better? And if so, how much better? If it's a percentage point or two, it may or may not be a good vehicle for you. We're going to cover that a little bit more a little bit later in the video. But if the interest payments or the interest rate is considerably lower, then it might be a good vehicle for you. Number two, it can simplify your payments. So if you have a bunch of credit cards, instead of paying this credit card and this credit card and this credit card, all my car payment and everything else, you just have one monthly payment. It may make managing your finances a little bit easier, and it will also reduce the risk of missed payments. Number three, you can improve your cash flow. In other words, instead of having all this money going out in all these different payments, which can make it difficult to manage cash flow, you just have the one payment, and actually be quite a bit less than what you're already paying out in multiple payments. So that's something to look at. This can also be helpful during tight financial periods to only have to worry about one payment instead of 5 or 10. It can also improve your credit scores. You're going to take this loan, you're going to pay off your credit cards. Hopefully you're also going to put your credit cards away and not use them anymore. We'll address that a little bit later. But the fact of paying off those credit cards can boost your credit score quite a bit. Finally, if you have a commitment to financial discipline, that can be useful. And right now, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. You have to commit to not using credit cards during the time of the loan, unless, and only unless, you have the funds put aside and you know that you can pay that credit card off in one billing cycle. So if you can pay that credit card off every month and you're very, very disciplined about it, this debt consolidation loan can be a good way to start getting you out of debt. On the other hand, where there are benefits, there are prices. There's a cost. And sometimes a debt consolidation loan is not the best thing for you or your business. One, the total cost of the loan may cost more. Well, how could this happen, Donna? You may be asking. Well, if you go from, like I was saying with my vehicle example, I have an outstanding interest rate on my car. And I'm getting offers to refinance this car at a longer term at the same interest rate. And actually, some of these are offering a higher interest rate. And I'm like, no, that's just spreading the cost out over a longer term, and I'm going to end up paying more in interest. So no, for this example, that is not a good loan for me. Even if I bundle that into credit cards, it's still not a good loan for me because they're going to extend the term of the loan, and I will pay more in interest over the entire term of the loan. It's easy to look at just the monthly rate or even the annual rate and say, oh, it's less than I'm paying now. But if you start to look over a 5 or 10 year period, it might not be the best thing. And you might not save a penny. Also, they come with fees and costs. So they have high loan origination fees, they have balance transfer fees, they have prepayment penalties, they may have a balloon payment at the end. So you need to take a look at that and see if that's something that is going to be good for you. And again, don't look just short term, look over the whole length of the loan and see if those loans are really worthwhile. If you don't change your spending habits, this loan is not going to work for you. Over the years, I've met people who have gotten debt consolidation loans, paid off their credit cards with them, and went right back to using those credit cards. So now they're in the same fix they were in before with yet another loan. So that's something to be careful about. If you are committed to changing your spending habits, if you are really, really looking hard at how you spend your money, why you spend your money the way you do, what you're spending your money on, and I'm emphasizing spending rather than investing, because this is usually because of consumer debt. We're going to cover that in a later video. I've got a ton of videos. Then getting into a debt consolidation loan may just make things worse. If you are using a high-risk secured loan, and the one that really comes to mind is a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. The problem with these secured loans is that, especially a HELOC, it's secured by your home. And so if you can't make the payment, you could lose your home. As opposed to, where the debt is now, where it's unsecured, it's on credit cards. Debt may be a problem, but at least missing a payment on your credit card is not going to cause you to lose your house. If you have bad credit, you are not going to get a good rate on your debt consolidation loan. And so that's something to think about. Yes, it can improve your credit score, but that has to become accompanied with a commitment to not going back to your old habits and And if it's on a debt consolidation loan, that can actually be catastrophic. So you want to take a look at it and make sure that it's going to work well for your current debt, and then that you are making the commitment to improve your spending habits. And if you're not saving enough money on interest on a debt consolidation loan, then I don't recommend it. Now, I'm saying this, I'm just, last summer, I've gone shopping for cars several times, and one of the red flags that always comes up, because it's a sales technique, and I know what it is, and my husband absolutely loves to hear about them because he is in sales. He thinks it's great. I hate this. He'll come out and say, well, which one of these four things matters most to you when you purchase a car? The price of the car, the interest rate, the payment, or the length of the loan. And what I always tell them is all four of those have to be right or there's no deal. So you can't screw me on the price because you're going to give me a good interest rate, because I'm not going to save any money. I don't want a low monthly payment if I'm going to have a 25-year loan on a car that's not going to work. They've extended it now to like 7 years on a 5-year asset. I'm like, no, I want a 5-year loan on my 5-year asset. Thank you. And I want to make sure that the loan terms, the interest rate, and the payment, and the principal, and the length all match up for me. And if they don't, then I tell them there's no deal, and I walk away. So you have to have the same mindset as you're evaluating whether or not to use a debt consolidation loan. Are you going to commit to being very, very careful with credit card debt moving forward? Are you going to put your credit cards aside and be very strategic on how you use them? Because you don't want them to close. So you may say, I'm going to kind of rotate through them. I'm going to use them for one transaction a month, rotate through them to keep them open, make sure that the transaction is paid for at the end of the month so that there's no carried balance. There's a lot of things that you can do to really improve your spending habits. And for example, I have a credit card with a low limit deliberately. But I use it for one thing and one thing only, and that's to get my nails done. Why? Because one, that helps me budget it, and that card gets paid off every month. So there's some things that you can do to really think about how you're using credit and whether or not you're using it responsibly. Now, once you have made the decision that you're going to be very, very careful with your credit, there's a lot of other ways to deal with debt rather than take out a debt consolidation loan, and I am going to cover those in later videos. For right now, I'm going to leave you with debt consolidation loans. Some questions to ask, by the way, before consolidating debt. Will the new loan save me money? Not just on monthly payments, but on interest and fees over the term of the loan. Am I committed to not taking on new debt while I'm paying off a debt consolidation loan? Now, if you're in business, you might almost have to take on new debt, but you have to be strategic about it. We will talk about that later. But you have to be committed to not just running up your old credit cards again and again. Are there any upfront costs or penalties associated with the loan? Again, that's loan origination fees, that's balance transfer fees. Those can all be assessed on a debt consolidation loan. And then finally, think about, do you have a plan to pay this back? And within the term. And how difficult is it going to be for you? So it can be a powerful tool to reduce some debt. It can be a powerful tool to regain control of your finances. However, you have to be very, very strategic with it. The problem that I see with debt and credit is that most people are not strategic about it. They are throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what works, basically. They are trying to figure it out. They are not sure what they're doing. They applying for credit cards or helping people banks, honestly. So in the next few videos, I'm going to be kind of walking you through debt. When is debt a good thing? According to a certain personal finance guru, it's never a good thing. I disagree with him. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want to give him any extra publicity, but he has a very specific demographic, and then people take that and they just go, oh, I'm going to follow his plan. And I'm saying, when you do your money makeover, you need to be mindful of all of it. Not just what is good, not just how to get out of debt, but what's good debt, what's bad debt, when is it appropriate to use debt. It's something you really have to think about. The biggest problem people get into with their money is simply not paying attention to it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close. You guys have a wonderful week. I'm looking forward to putting out some more of these videos basically on the same topic and making sure that you, as a business owner, have the information that you need to make some of these decisions to really help your business grow. Have a wonderful week.